Hi, I'm Tyson Franklin, and welcome to this week's episode of the Podiatry Legends Podcast. Podcast designed to help you feel, see, and think differently about the podiatry profession. As you'll see, if you're watching the video, that we are not in my office where I normally do all this. I am in, where am I?
You're in South, I'm in Warwickshire in England.
That's where I am, and I'm in Jonathan Small's clinic, which is called
Health First Foot and Gait Clinic.
Okay, and so we're on our way up to Liverpool to talk at the Foot and Ankle Show. So we thought, let's have a bit of a chat beforehand. I've got some new recording equipment, so that's why we're testing this out to see if it works. And if it doesn't, no one will ever see this. This will be an experiment. But if you're watching this, then it's actually come together good enough for us to use. So there is a video on my YouTube channel, Tyson E Franklin, if you want to go check it out. Or you might be listening to this just on the podcast. Yeah. So Jonathan, welcome to the podcast for your 140th episode.
And welcome to my clinic.
Yeah.
It feels quite surreal having you here after all the years of doing episodes with you. To actually have you on site in my clinic is awesome.
And I will admit, this clinic is, as you pointed out, it's not big, but it's pretty cool.
I'm glad you like it.
It is. I like it. It has
got a lot of character.
It has. So the last few days, I arrived in London, went to Oxford for the day. Jonathan picked me up, and the last few days we've been touring around, and I've said before that when I travel with intent.
Mm-hmm.
So the last few days we've done and seen a few things. We thought we'll share some of the things that we've seen, but also what we've learnt.
Yeah.
Yeah, like even this morning. I have a shower, and I hop into the shower, and shower setups in the UK are slightly different to Australia, but that's okay. I won't talk about the Oxford experience. But I go into Jonathan's shower. He wasn't in there, of course.
No. So I didn't go in to show you.
Yeah, he didn't go in to show me. But I go in there, and all of a sudden there's this different setup I've never seen before, and there's just a button that is like an on-off button. So I push the button, and all of a sudden the water starts coming out, and it's all preset on everything. Now, you showered before me, so I assume the water had already...
Yeah, but it's just like that. So for those who know, you use your electric showers, it's just a straightforward electric shower, but Tyson's never experienced an electric shower before, so it was all new. He didn't know I didn't tell him what to press or what to do. He had to work it out when he was in there.
But what is interesting, when I came out of there and I said to Jonathan, I've never seen an electric shower before, and he's like, well, I said, I've never seen that setup before. He said, oh, it's just an electric shower. It's, what'd you say? It's common.
Yeah.
And that was one of the lessons that we learned. Was I said, wow, that's interesting. When I looked at it, what I saw was, isn't it great that they've pretty much got everything systematized, that you've set it to how you like it, you press play, and it just works. You don't have to fiddle around with anything afterwards. But when you said, oh, that's common, everyone knows how that works, I'm thinking it's similar in a clinic or business situation. Sometimes you just assume your patient it's simple. It's just the way that it works.
But I think that very much applies to orthotics, isn't it? Because sometimes we'll see them, they put them in the wrong shoes, in the opposite shoes or back to front inside the shoes. Because to us it's common, it's simple, but to them it's brand new. They don't know how to do it.
And I think it's even when a patient arrives at your clinic, everything we do every day is so... We don't even think about it. You could probably put a blindfold on and walk around your clinic, and other than your low doorway, not hit your head on anything, everything would be fine. One thing I figured out too, 400 years ago when this place was built, 300 years ago, people were shorter.
Yeah. And Australia hadn't developed the way it has.
We didn't even know. We didn't know we needed doorways in Australia 300 years ago. But yeah, so I just think it's something to keep in mind when you're dealing with patients, clients, it doesn't matter who it is. Just realise what is commonplace to you isn't common to everybody else.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, of course, we've been to some great places, haven't we? We've been to tourist places.
Yeah.
And we've done the things that as somebody who's from England hasn't actually been to these places before, so having Tyson here has been great to go to these places. But what it's shown me is actually if you develop something of interest to the public, they're going to come and see it. They're going to come and engage with it in some way, shape, or form. And we've done the famous place like Stonehenge. But yesterday in Bath, it was absolutely heaving, wasn't it? Lots of businesses there open, and so many people there, and everybody engaging with those businesses, and they all look good quality and interesting for the people to go and visit them.
Yeah, back to Stonehenge, because we shot a short little video on Stonehenge, and we just talked about just like amazing that they built the structure, like how many years ago?
So that was 2,000 years BC, something like that. 3,500, I think it started.
Yeah. So they built something like that thousands and thousands of years ago. So just the thought process to do it, we don't really understand why they did it, but it just makes you realise if you really want to get something done, you can do anything if you really put your mind to it. They move these things 230 miles from one place to another.
Yeah.
Which is pretty impressive.
Yeah, it was, and it stood the test of time. I mean, that's what we've seen when it's been built of quality. Then it stands the test of time. They just keep going, don't they?
Oh, they don't build it like they used to. The Phoebus Cartel. Go and look up the Phoebus Cartel, and that will make sense on why they don't build it like they used to. That's in my marketing workshops.
Not in your conspiracy theories.
No, it's not a conspiracy theory. It is the Phoebus Cartel. And I'm not going to give you any information on it because I talk about it in my marketing workshops. So when I do one, you'll have to come along, or you can just go and read it up yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
So with the marketing stuff is, like today is Sunday, so tomorrow is actually the marketing workshop we're doing in Liverpool, and I'll be doing another one on the Gold Coast in June. So, and that's only for, once again, a small number. It will sell out, so I wouldn't wait too long.
No, always worthwhile going along to Tyson's workshops. I learn something every time I'm with him. When I'm chatting in the car, they're just really helpful things I can apply to my life and my business.
Yeah, actually I learn something every time I do one as well. It's just amazing because every time, and this is something I think is important, when I was talking to a couple of episodes back, Angel Jones, and we're talking about writing books, and it's whenever you're putting any research into anything, especially if you're writing a book, you don't just write something down without checking the facts. But once you check the facts, sometimes you go down a rabbit hole. And when you go down that rabbit hole, all of a sudden you just opens your mind up to all the stuff you were totally unaware of. And I said to him, I always felt after writing a book, I'm more intelligent. I feel the same thing whenever I put a workshop together. So much work goes in behind it. I feel more intelligent after I've put it together. And then even the one I doing tomorrow in Liverpool, and the one I do on the Gold Coast. Before I do it on the Gold Coast, I'll be going right through the whole thing again. Yeah. And there'll be new things will get added, bits will get taken out, because I think you should always be refining what you're doing. Adapting to make sure you respond and be the best that you can be for your audience. Yeah. And that's the same with your podiatry businesses, isn't it? If you stay still, then you're just going to end up rotting over time. And I think you need to keep reinvesting, re-engaging with patients, and developing the product that you offer them. Yeah, it's the... This is part of my intelligence now. That's the second rule of the Red Queen hypothesis. Okay. If you're standing still, you're falling behind. And I think I talked about that in marketing workshop as well. And what they're saying is, like you're saying with your patients, even if everything is going fantastic with your clinic and with your patients, it's just always got to be refining it. Because the patients that are seeing you today, in 5 years' time will be completely different. So you can't be running your business the same way. You've got to keep adapting it and evolving it. Yes. And you've seen, just looking around our little clinic, there's lots of things that are there that may not exist in other podiatry clinics, where we're trying to bring in things to help our patients. Well, 10 years ago, maybe 12, was it 12? Maybe we got our first shockwave machine back then, and now they're commonplace. Yeah. Back then, 10, 12, 14 years ago, they weren't very common at all. Mm-hmm. So what else have we done? And what other lessons have you picked up? Yeah. So for me, I think the one of the things I've really enjoyed is just spending time with Tyson, just travelling around. And I think the more you talk with people, the more you talk with your patients, the more you find out about them, you learn about them, you can connect on a really good level if you have these conversations with your patients. So if you're thinking about introducing something new to your business, or you're looking at where your marketing channels will be, talk to
to your patients about it. Just get in conversations with them, get to know them, not just on a superficial level where you just talk about how sunny it is or whatever, but actually get to know them as a person. So for me,
when do you ask your patients how sunny it is?
In Britain, you always talk about the weather. You know, they come in and you're just talking mainly whine about the weather. Although since Tyson's been here, it's been beautifully sunny. So I've just loved the travelling around and talking that we've done in our hours in the car.
Yeah, and that is one thing I'm going to be doing at the workshop. But I'm doing a talk about happiness and achievement, independent variables, and that's one of the things I recommend to all podiatrists. They need to learn to connect more with other podiatrists. The podiatrist down the road is not your competition. The podiatrist down the road is a podiatrist down the road. You're in the same profession. You probably have a lot more in common than what you think. And if they don't want to connect with you, they don't want to. But I think you should be, every time you're at a conference, is trying to connect with other people. And I always say, dig the well before you need the water, because you never know, even your clinic here, Jonathan, something happens and say you desperately needed to keep this business running. You put the feelers out, and we went for dinner last night with Jill, Diane and Penny.
Yeah. And
I know right now, if something happened here that you needed those three to step up for you, I don't think they would even think about it. Those three would coordinate together, and they would put it out to their network, and this place would actually be looked after.
Yeah.
Whereas the podiatrist that sort of keeps to themselves, they think they're in a silo, they don't want to have anything to do with anyone. When the shit hits the fan, then all of a sudden they go, oh, I need help. And everyone's going, oh, who are you?
Yeah, absolutely.
We don't know who you are.
Yeah, you're absolutely right there. I actually had an incident only a couple of months ago now, because I now live 3.5 hours away from this clinic, so it's not easy for me to just come and bail out a patient with any problems. And the patient sent me a photo of something that was really quite concerning, and straight away I was on to one of my colleagues in the next town who's got a clinic, and he said, I'll come and see him on a Sunday if you need him seeing whatever needs to be done. And it's great to have that support. So thank you very much, Richard, for offering that.
So did he come here, or did he?
He didn't need to go in the end, but I'd set him up as a backup plan if he needed to be seen. I was able to sort it out remotely, but if I hadn't been able to, then Richard would have stepped up for me and seen the patient, and he'd have just gone and opened his clinic for him to go and see him there. Yeah. So that was really great.
And I think that's a big thing with like creating this network of friends, is actually having these conversations with them. Is if you've got podiatry friends that are within driving distance, is actually having a conversation with them. Go, hey, if this happened, would you be able to help me?
Yeah.
And actually, you know how people sort of, they don't want to talk about bad things. I think that will never happen. And or it's unlikely that would happen. So, but and it's when you have if you've got older parents and you're talking about what's going to happen to them when they get to a certain age, you've got to have the conversation before they get to that certain age. Therefore, when it does happen, it's really easy. And I think in podiatry, we're going to do the same. Is think about, if the worst case scenario, how would you deal with certain things?
Yeah, absolutely. And it all comes down to that planning ahead that we've talked about, and thinking about what's likely or possible in the future, that you have to have things in place to deal with, whether that's an emergency patient like we've just mentioned, or we've been talking a lot about selling clinics, haven't we, and making sure you're prepared for that and prepared for your retirement, and rather than just one day thinking, okay, I'm going to stop and that's it. You've got to actually think it through and plan it often many years ahead.
Yeah, well, that was a recent conversation that was said. If you're thinking of selling your clinic, you should be thinking about 5 years before you're ever going to do it, and start putting things in place and looking at your different options and talking to other people that maybe have already done it.
Yes.
And thinking, what did you do? How did you lead up to that? And then also, how'd you find it after you retired? I think that's the important part.
Yeah, absolutely. Having a fulfilling life after work is, I think that's crucial, because you get so much fulfillment within work, with what we do with our patients, engaging with them, helping them, supporting them, and then bringing in joy and happiness into your clinic every day. And I think you've got to make sure that you're filling life afterwards with similar things for yourself, because that's what you've been used to for however many decades you've been in the profession.
Yeah, it is. It's one of the things. Like when I sold my clinic, I knew that I had stuff planned that I was going to be doing afterwards, so it was not a problem. But I think I reckon if you enjoy what you do, I don't think you have to retire.
No, absolutely. There's no urgency to it, but sometimes I think when you feel like you've had enough of that in your life, but that's the same in anything. It could be after 5 years or 35 years. It doesn't matter if you think you've got what you can from it and you've given what you can to it. I think what happens in some cases is people become disengaged but carry on doing it then, and I think that then leads to some issues for them really, rather than getting out on a high. They try and get out on a low.
You know how I felt like? I felt like Spartacus. when I finally sold my practice, decided I wasn't going to work as a practitioner anymore, I actually felt like a gladiator walking out of the Colosseum unscathed.
Because you'd actually survived.
Yeah, I thought I'd survived that period of my life, and I popped out the other end, and I was like, yeah. So now I want to help other podiatrists do exactly the same thing. But I must admit, that feeling of walking away from something that you've done for a long period of time, it can be a little bit scary as well. Yeah,
but you're stepping into the unknown, aren't you? And that's especially if you've ended up stuck in a comfort zone. I think that can be very difficult if you've spent 10 years doing the same thing in the same way without changing anything. So you just sat in this comfort zone, and then suddenly you just decide you're going to retire, walk away from it, and then it's like, oh my God, I don't know how to cope because I'm completely uncomfortable with where I'm heading. I think you've got to make sure that you're either used to stepping out regularly out your comfort zone and keep doing that, getting comfortable with being uncomfortable, or you've got to make sure that the next phase in your life feels as comfortable as where you've come from.
I think the good thing too is most podiatrists that would be listening to the podcast, watching the video, I think are more positive podiatrists anyway.
And
that's what I mean. Like, I know we're talking to people who are probably more engaged, who want more out of the profession, have a good attitude, or that are working on it. They want that. Yeah. We all know there's people in the profession, in every profession, not just podiatry, that. I'm trying to think of a polite word. Uninspired with what they're doing. They just go to work, they make money, they go home, and they're not really enjoying life. And I think if anyone's listening to this who sometimes feel like you're a little bit trapped, you're a little bit sad, is reach out to Jonathan, reach out to me, reach out to other people in the profession, and just go, hey, can we have a coffee? I just want to have a talk.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I have never said no to a person coming up to Cairns, which is much warmer than here, and asking, hey, can we catch up for a coffee? I've never said no to anyone.
No, absolutely. And the thing is, you don't know where those conversations are going to lead anyhow. The transformation it can make to somebody else's life or even to your life. So it's well worthwhile just doing that engagement and having those conversations, definitely.
Yeah, definitely reaching out. I remember hearing a story, somebody said that they hadn't spoken to a friend for a while. They phoned the friend up and said, hey, how you doing? And they went, oh, yeah, I'm fine. And they went, hey, it's fine, you want to catch up for a coffee or something? We haven't spoken for years. I'm going to be in the area. Yep, not a problem. They did that. And then the guy opened up and said, do you realise when you called, I was just about to end it?
Oh, my God. Wow.
It's a bit your phone call, and he didn't do it.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah, and so that's why I think if you know someone who has... in the profession, who has gone a little bit quiet, reach out to them. If you're feeling that way yourself, not suicidal, giving advice, but if you're just feeling a bit lonely, reach out to somebody in the profession and say, let's have a coffee.
Yeah.
And you feel better for it.
Yeah, definitely.
Like I said, us spending hours together in a car.
Yeah. we haven't killed each other yet.
Yeah, that's right. So where else did we go? We did Stonehenge.
Yeah, we've done Salisbury Cathedral, the Magna Carta.
Yes.
You saw that.
Don't take photos of it.
No, don't. No, that's illegal.
It's illegal to take photos of the Magna Carta. I have a really good photo of the Magna Carta, which I didn't realise. I didn't see. That sign was definitely not there on the way in.
Yeah, they put it in when we were in there.
It was while we were in there, they put a big sign out there, don't take photos.
Yeah. And we went to see the Chalk Man on the Hill, the Cairn Abbas.
What's it called?
Cairn Abbas.
Cairn Abbas.
Yeah, it's the Cairn Giant.
Oh, the Cairn Giant. We saw the Cairn Giant with his big kern
phallus,
chalk phallus. That was interesting.
And then we've been to the donkey sanctuary.
Donkey sanctuary. People who don't know, donkeys are one of my favourite animals. They've got just so much personality. I don't think Jonathan knew as much about donkeys until he got there, and then I think you now realise how cool they are.
Yeah, well. Good, yeah.
They're very funny animals.
Yeah.
And there was 197 at the donkey sanctuary. So if you like donkeys, and go to their website.
The donkeysanctuary.co.uk, I think it'll be. Yeah. And there's a few sites around in Devon, because the lady who set it up was based down there, and we went to the original head office place. And what she's achieved is phenomenal, isn't it, for the donkey? Yeah.
But I love the donkey sanctuary. Thought it was great. Now I'm a proud owner of a pair of donkey socks.
Yes. And we went to Sidmouth whilst we were there, and you had your cream tea.
Yes, with clotted cream. That was an experience. You'd only have it once a year because it will kill you. It can't be good for you.
Probably not. Probably not. But very nice anyhow.
That was a nice place. Ice cream was good.
Yeah.
Never too cold for ice cream.
No, we've had lots of ice cream. We are both ice cream fans. Yes, definitely. And we're going to find one for breakfast this morning
I think so as well. So where do we go after that?
We've been to the lodge. We've been to the lodge. We've been down to the lodge to
I went to Jonathan's retirement village called the Lodge. And pretty cool setup. You explain it.
Yeah, so it's a spa, sports, craft, golf complex hotel, 2 resorts next to each other, that you can do anything and everything you could imagine all day long.
No pornography.
No. So they do pyrography there.
Pyrography.
And because Tyson's partially dyslexic, I think, he thought they were doing pornography there.
So you got pornography, yes, that's a bit unexpected.
Yeah. And so we did some shooting there, didn't we?
Yes.
Yeah.
Pistol shooting and rifle shooting.
Yeah. So this fits in with that fulfilling retirement, or filling retirement with things that you want to be doing that are as fulfilling as they were when you were working, and that's my retirement, isn't it? When I get there, it's because there's so much to do down there. And then we played pickleball, which is my new passion.
Never played pickleball before in my life, and I'm always up for the challenge.
Yeah. And
I think if you can play table tennis, or probably if you've played any racket ball before, I think you'll pick it up pretty. It's just the rules and the scoring.
Yeah.
Which are a bit different.
And that was good fun, wasn't it? We had some good games of pickleball.
Yeah.
And then
I went in with the confidence as I'm not going to lose a game. After losing the first 3. We won the last 2.
Yeah, you played with me, didn't you?
The last two games we won. That was good.
Yeah. And then we headed back up north, and we went to Weston-super-Mare Pier, because that's on everybody's tourist list, or should be on everybody's tourist list. Not many Australians will have been to Weston-super-Mare Pier, but you enjoyed Weston-super-Mare Pier.
It was a lot of fun. So you just picture there's a big pier, and at the end of the pier, it's got these arcade games there. Well, pretty much what it's teaching children to gamble. I've never seen so many. They've got kids' poker machines. I don't know if there's a gambling problem here in the UK as adults, but hey, let's get these kids gambling, and they've got them playing games. It's impossible for them to win, but they think they could by giving them a little bit of coins. And then they just put it all back in again. It's just, it's a rort. But it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, we did enjoy that. Yeah, that was good. Fish and chips. You wanted fish and chips? You want
really good fish and chips.
Yeah, that was good.
I was really happy with that. They were cod.
Yes, because you said you don't get access to cod.
Oh, we might, but not as fish and chips.
Okay.
In Australia, it's always like either barramundi or Spanish mackerel. They're the most common ones. Yeah.
And then we went to Bath, and the busyness of Bath, and the Roman baths, and
I said that to Christine this morning. We went to the Roman baths, and Christine just looked at me and said, "The ancient ones. We didn't have a Roman. we didn't have a Roman bath together." Okay. I said that was the spa. That was a completely different story altogether.
So that was good, wasn't it? At the Roman baths, the history of the place was quite incredible.
And just what I like about the place we saw though, and you sort of know this about the Romans. When people say, "What the Romans ever did for us," people understand. Some people understand that line. That just their engineering on how all of a sudden there's this hot spring that they found, and then they managed to take that hot spring and engineer it into these different pools and have a certain amount come in to heat the pool to a certain temperature without it boiling like the thing itself, have it draining off to different areas, and then built everything around this one hot pool.
Well, it's that thing, isn't it? The same from Field of Dreams, the movie. If you build it, they will come. And for me, that applies when you're doing your businesses. If you do it in the right way and market it the right way, then they're just going to come. And the whole of the town of Bath has been built around this hot spring, effectively.
I said it all started just from that.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And so that was cool, and just the longevity of things, how well things were built to last. They didn't keep knocking them down and rebuilding. They actually built it to last a long period of time.
Even your place here, it's like you said, it's over 300 years old, and it's built to last.
Yeah.
But the one thing in the Roman baths that they probably could get rid of is tasting the water.
Oh yes, that was disgusting. They've got so you can go places to have natural spring water in England, no problem at all. But you don't expect it to be warm natural spring water, and they're serving it up as a drink for people to taste. And it was
everybody. You can see everyone tasting, go, oh yeah. And I'm thinking, it's not just me. I'm so glad it wasn't just me.
And it's the mineral content varies from different places, but normally it's served cold. Best served cold, isn't it?
I don't think even that one was served cold.
No.
That was really interesting. Where did we go?
We drove up through the Cotswolds and we saw all these pretty villages on the way up with all the old houses and stuff. So and just chatting away as we were doing
I'm just going to grab my phone because I wrote some notes down.
Oh yes,
because I have some of my takeaway points.
Some of the things Tyson knew before and some that he didn't, and I don't know which those are. So I didn't know he had a fetish for traffic lights.
So let's go read this, because most countries, traffic lights will be, you're driving, it's green, amber, red, stop. Okay, we all know that. We stop, and then we wait, and then all of a sudden it'll go green, and we go. But no, not here. Green, amber, red, we all stop. Everyone stops. We've all agreed on it.
Yeah.
And then, just to make it interesting, it goes back to amber.
Yeah, it goes red and amber, doesn't it?
Yeah, it goes red and amber at the same time, which is like, hey, get ready to go green.
Yeah, on your mark.
On your mark, get set, and then it goes green and everyone goes. But I've noticed everyone starts taking off on amber.
On red and amber. That's it, you're getting ready, yeah.
So that was one thing that was interesting. The drink bottles. They had the lids attached.
Oh, yes, yeah.
And I must admit, there's good and bad about that. Is I know sometimes you'll screw off a lid and you'll drop it and you go, can't find my lid, it's a real pain. So the lid screws off and it flips off, but it still stays attached. I didn't know this. I had to rip my lid off the first time because I thought I had a dodgy lid, and then every time I took a drink it spiked me.
It's a bit of a design fault really, isn't it, because you can't.
But I did a little video where I'm flicking the lid and it just kept flipping back on again. But the other part where it could be a bit more difficult. Do you recycle over here?
Yes, yeah.
Do you leave the lids on or take them off?
So there's a challenge because you're never quite sure. Depends on which council area you're in as to whether you should take them off or not. I think it comes down to personal habit really at the end of the day for that one. But the other thing when you're having that flipping lid experience was you discovered the difference between corned beef in Australia and corned beef here. So you can't assume that when you're in another country and you're using the same language, the same words, that it's the same thing. So orthotics in one country may not be orthotics in another. You've got to really make sure you're doing it right for the right country when you're having these conversations.
Corned beef in the UK is cat food. It's more like dog food. And corned beef in Australia, it's more like they said Irish.
A silver side, yeah.
Yeah, it's a silver side. Yeah, whereas in the UK it's not. Because we went to Greg's. And Greg's had a really good slogan on their packaging.
Oh yes, what was it? Did you get a picture of that?
I did. I took a photo.
That's on the paper.
It's something they bring on the joy.
Yeah.
Or something. It's a very positive message on the packaging, which I thought was great. The other thing I've written down here was you can park on any side of the road, whatever takes your fancy.
As long as there's no sign up saying you can't.
Yeah. Okay, if there's no signs, that makes sense. I learnt a saying called on the lash.
Yes. Don't know where it came from. We need to look that up where it came from.
But it's
not that we've been on the lash, have we, Tyson?
No, I haven't at all. No, that's the only thing I had notes written down here.
Mm.
But I know, I find one thing I like about travel is, other than, like catching up with people and all that, and I've done this on all my American trips, and I will keep taking notes down for the rest of this trip, is travel with intent. Keep your eyes open. Look what's around you. See things that are different. Like, I take heaps of photographs. Heaps and heaps of photos of some of the strangest things, because it just jogs my memory on the feeling or the experience. But also anything that looks a little bit unique, I want to get a photo of it because I will use it somewhere else. And I've already, to some of the photos that I've taken on this trip, I've already added into my marketing talk.
Okay.
Snuck them in
Excellent.
there.
Excellent. I'll see them tomorrow.
The Greg's thing is one of them,
Yeah.
Actually, I'm going to look up some of these photos. I'm going to find that Greg's slogan. This was what was on Greg's. Bag some joy.
Yes, because it was on the paper bag, wasn't it?
Yeah. And that's what, and I said that to Jonathan, that I'm always just looking for things that, like, you look at something like Bag of Joy, you go, okay, well, yes, okay, that's a very positive comment, but how can you do that in your podiatry business? How can you bag the joy? We give orthotics to patients. They're in a bag.
Yeah.
Can you have a positive message on the bag when you're giving it to the patient? So not only when they see that, they will show it to friends.
Yeah.
And that is important. And I said the same thing when I was having that Thatcher's cider.
Yes.
And I read the back of the label. And I said, here, have a read of this. And you read it and you went, oh, it's pretty boring. I said, exactly.
Yes.
They've got, I've bought the bottle. And I don't know if it's just me, but I like reading the history of whatever it is that I'm drinking. And it just said, family owned since 1904.
Yeah, who started it?
That was
Where did it come from?
Whereas I bought we had these pretzels on a plane, which will be when I eventually do my American video. And on the pretzels, it's talking about on the back, how the mother and daughter had this love of baking together and spending time together. And they said, oh, why don't we start a business? And this whole mini pretzel company started from it. It's got the whole story on the back of this little packet, and then a QR code, you click on it, and it goes through and tells you more of the story.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, something where you can have like an emotional attachment to emotional connection, people are going to remember that more. So this Thatcher's, I remember it for not having a story.
At least it's still memorable.
It's still memorable, but there's no actual story attached to it.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, in your business, if you're giving something to a patient, can you tell stories around what it is that you've done or you're doing, so that, and like they said, bag some joy. Even if you're a bag some joy on your orthotic packets.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's something where the patients will leave and then they'll talk to other people and go, oh, did you know? And they will share that story as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And on the emotional connection, you can't see what's behind the camera at the moment, but we have a blind up that's all about trying to make people and connect with us on a personal level rather than on a business level, and it's just sharing what the staff get up to outside of work. And the number of patients who just come in and they start their conversation because they've seen something on this blind behind us with all these pictures on there, and that really does help to establish that emotional connection with them.
Yeah, the other thing I took a photo of was in my motel room in Oxford. It had a little bar of soap.
Okay.
But on the bar, instead of just a normal bar of soap that you would just open up and lather yourself, it had Think Positive.
Oh, yes. Okay.
So the soap itself has got be different, and the different is written
differently.
Yeah. It's got D-FFE backwards, R, and the T is upside down, the N's backwards. So be different, think positive, soothing cream soap. And these are the type of things, when I see that, I will go, okay, how can you do that in your podiatry business? You might notice the hoodie that I got on.
Be humble.
Yeah, be humble. This was from, I bought this in Zappos. And it is renowned for, it's known for the best customer experience. They look after best team environment in the world.
Wow.
And you go and I'm reading this book at the moment. You go and look up them and you sort of go, how can I apply that? How can I improve the culture in my podiatry clinic? How can I look after, not my team, but also look after the patients?
Yeah.
And it's all I think, positive experience.
Absolutely. You want to make sure that they're leaving your place better than when they arrive at your place. Now that could be in helping them with their foot pain, their foot problem, but also overall their what they've experienced. If you do that, then you're not going to go wrong in podiatry business at all.
No, but like I was saying before, I think people need to travel. Even like overseas is great, but if time restrictions or family and you've got to stay closer to home, just take some time out of your clinic. Because I tell you right now, in 20, 30, 40 years time, when you're looking back over your life, you're not going to remember Mabel, who was coming in at 2:30 on a Tuesday, who really wanted to see you. You'll remember something else that you're actually doing. So if you don't want to travel abroad, at least locally, I'll give you a tip. Some of the things that you and I have gone and seen are in your backyard, pretty much, but you haven't gone and seen them.
No, that's right.
And we tend to not go and experience things ourselves. We wait till people visit. But I think if you're in your podiatry clinic, you're getting bogged down day to day, and you're mentally starting to get tired. Look ahead, block out 3-4 days, and just take that time off.
Yeah.
Recharge, look around you, have some good food, talk to some nice people. If you like a drink, have a drink or two, and take a lot of photos.
Yeah.
Because then you never know how that photo is going to inspire an emotion, make you feel good again. And I talk about it in the happiness and achievement talk, just finding your happy place, things that actually make you happy. That's how you found out about the donkeys.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
So I was showing you my talk and I said, I love donkeys. He went, there's a donkey sanctuary.
Yeah.
I know the vet.
Yes.
We had an inside man.
We did, yeah. It was the thing around the travel. You say about 3 days, but I think even if you just take a day out of clinic, and you think about what you'd like to do for yourself, not for other people, can really help you re-energize, ready to give back to the world. I think that's really important, is looking after yourself. Because if you can get yourself into the best possible mindset, the best position, so that then you can give back to the world, then that's great.
Yeah, no, I've got to agree. So, Jonathan, I want to thank you.
Well, thank you for coming.
For coming back on the podcast for your 146th episode. I think it's episode 14?
Something like that, yeah. I've lost
14.
track, because we do team group ones as well, so I don't know.
But
yeah,
it has been a few.
Yeah.
But no, this has been good. I like I said, we're in the clinic, and this has been. I've got fingers crossed the audio's turned out.
Yeah.
And this is my final point I want to share. Sometimes you have just got to take risks. Is in my head I'm thinking, I want to do a video with Jonathan while I'm here. Didn't know what we were going to talk about. So we thought we'll talk about the trip so far. But then we're thinking, where are we going to shoot this video? And we thought, okay, we're going to do it. We're going to do it in the clinic. Then it's finding the right spot in the clinic. And then it's like, what microphones we're using. I've got these little microphones on at the moment.
Yeah.
You see me fine. My phone is actually supposed to be recording this, but I'm using something else to record it. There's probably 10 excuses that we could have not shot this.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
The lighting, the
the
sound, but at least there's no shining off a bald head for a change. I didn't shave this morning. All these excuses that we could have got, we won't do the video, and then never put this out. But I think sometimes you just go,
just do it.
Just do it.
Just go, give it a go.
Because
what's the worst that could go wrong?
If it's crap, if I listen back to this and I go, this is rubbish, this is terrible, whose idea was this? No one will ever see it. But if you end up watching the video, you're listening to the podcast, then you'll know that, in my mind,
it was good enough.
It was good enough. And sometimes, well, they say 80% out the door is better than 100% in the drawer. So if you've got some content, you're creating stuff. Some people are scared of doing videos, and be honest, I don't like doing videos.
No.
I'm really not.
I've got to say, this makes it really easy because it's such a small device there. You don't feel like you're talking to the camera at all. You know?
No, that's my DJI Osmo Pocket 3 that we're actually recording this on. And it's a great little device. It's really cool. And this is the DJI mics that we've got separate. So anyway, Jonathan, thank you for coming back on the podcast, being in the video with me.
Thank you for coming to Clinic.
And I'm going to take a few photos and So thank you very much. Look at this very official shaking of the hand and everything at the end. Okay.
In person.
Okay, thanks then.
Cheers then.
Okay, bye. I'm not bye. Just go, yeah. We'll leave that
Blooper reel.
Yeah, we'll leave that one in. But I don't know. I said bye because you're right here.
Yeah, I'm not going anywhere.
Okay, thanks for that. Talk to you later.